Hey guys, and welcome back to Opal&Mint. I am Ashley, and welcome back to Watercolor Month, a flower every day. This is where we're painting a flower every single day this month, and today is day 22. I am excited for this one. Let's dive in. So we are using the flower color guide, picking a random page and painting that flower. So let's go ahead and see what today's is going to be. Where should we go today? I'm thinking here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay. We have a ranunculus, which is probably the most gorgeous ranunculus I've ever seen. These colors, so pretty. Or we have an Astrantia. I've never heard of this. There's a bunch of flowers I've never heard of. This one looks very pretty. Since we just did a ranunculus recently, even though this one's ridiculously gorgeous, I think we might do this one. It's got some fun angles and points of view. I think we should do this one. Okay, so I'm going to get out. All right, so if you're following along and you have the flower color guide, today we are on page 345. Let's get this on here. And where's theirs? Today I'm going to be using the watercolor block. Again, I will link this. I'm testing this out. I don't know how I feel about this one. It's not my favorite, but I am still testing it out for that cotton watercolor paper video. So I'm going to give this a try again. All right, and going back to the trusty Daniel Smith paints. And let's move that to the side. All right, how are we going to paint this? What is going to be our approach? I don't really know, but let's just dive in and give this a try. Okay, so I get to use one of my favorite colors, which is wisteria. So there's different colors in this flower. But I want to start with wisteria, and then we're going to tap in some darker color on top of that. I'm trying to decide which facing one we want to start with. I think I just want to start with a front-facing one, and then we'll go from there. So we're going to map it out in wisteria, and then we're going to tap in some darker color around it. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to actually draw a little circle here. So that middle part will be darker, but that gives us a guide where the petals are coming out from. And they come to a very fine little pointy point. So I'm using a Princeton Neptune round size 6 at the moment. And let's just go ahead and go around that circle and put very pointed little petals. And then again, we are going to be adding in the darker color after we get this base down. And it's a fairly full flower. There's a bunch of petals on this, so make sure to fill in those spaces. Okay, now while this is still wet, I feel like I should have used a smaller brush. Kind of struggling with that. So I'm going to take the size 2 Princeton Snap, and we're going to take a deeper color. So I'm actually going to get, Rose of Ultramarine. And the darker color is actually on the tips of these. So I'm going to do this, and I'm wiping my brush off now, and I'm kind of fanning this down, just like that. So go around and do that to each of the petals. And this is also where you can refine your point. If you didn't get one of them pointed enough, this is where you can kind of refine that shape a little bit. Okay. Sorry about that. My mom showed up, so I had to pause for a second. But anyways, so just outline them with the darker color, and then we're going to work on this center, which is just like a lot of depth. It looks like a bunch of little petals sticking up. So yeah, just a bunch of little petals. And I don't know if you'd call them petals. They're little pokey things, but it's just got a very full center. So let's work on that. How shall we tackle this? So there's a little bit of green in there as well. So I'm going to take just a tiny bit of my Serpentine Genuine. I'm just putting this, I'm just going to lightly coat a little bit there. And then after that dries, we'll go in to the center. Let's go ahead and do another, why is this facing this way? Let's go ahead and do another facing flower. I feel like it should go this way. Okay. All right. Let's see. So we're going to go back into the wisteria. I want to do one that's more side facing. So let's get some more of this pale. Why was I going to say yellow? What is this? Purple. And let's go here. And we're going to make kind of a bowl shape coming out. Just kind of mapping where these go. A little bit of a lighter wash of it for some of these like background petals. So on that back side. Okay. Taking a tiny bit of my opera pink, and I just want just a little bit of a pink going through some of these. I feel like they're more pink in this purple than this, so I'm just going to add a little bit of that. And then we're going to go back into the Rose of Ultramarine. So this is the more, okay, this has got to stop rattling on my desk. All right, so we're going to get the tips of these just like we did before. It's going to kind of help define where those petals actually are so they're not just a blob. And it looks like actually at the base of these petals, we have some of that green wash in there. So I'm going to take a little bit of that green. And this is still a little bit wet, so I'm just kind of running that watery green here. And while I'm here, I'm going to actually go ahead and pull this down into a stem. We'll add some more to that in a second, but dropping everything. Okay, so just mapping this out. Defining where these petals are. Trying not to overdo everything. It's always a delicate balance, isn't it? It's in the background here. Okay, I need palette space here. This is driving me crazy. This is why we put paint on the palette and not directly from the pan, because you can't tell what your consistency is that you're putting down until you have your brush down. Like that was way too thick. So if we go from a palette, we can see right away what our consistency is before we put the paint down on the paper. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to go back to this one because it's a little bit more dry. And I think I'm just going to kind of put in some squiggly marks Like I don't want to fuss about what this actually looks like. And I have a fairly concentrated amount of paint, pretty thick consistency. And I'm leaving some spaces where that green is poking through and kind of going outward, covering up some of the base of these petals. And there we go. There is the center of that flower. That's not bad. Nice, loose, quick. All right, so I'm going to actually take some of that serpentine green and come out of this one. And let's define this one a little bit more. Okay, I feel like that one's going to need some more work, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and let's see. I don't know what I want yet. So a lot of these have like a main stem and then there's flowers coming off of the stems even more. So I feel like we need to have one come off this stem. Let's have it come up a little bit. So it's going to fill in that space there. And then there's like little leaves where these connect. Okay, so let's put in flowers, on these two spots here. So get a little bit of that wisteria. And let's do, there's some that like even go upside down almost, but this one, which direction do we want this to go? I wish you could like be here and talk back when I'm when I'm asking these questions. Okay, we're just gonna go for it here, and I'm gonna start there and coming out this way. Just gonna see how this one takes shape. So I feel like I want some kind of coming up this way now. So this one's got some coming up from the front here. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna let that dry and then we're gonna fill in that center a little bit. Okay. All right, and then one more. Some of them are really, really pale, and so I think I want to do a really pale one right here. So let's just get some petals in. This is kind of side facing. Okay. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take a tiny bit of that green and put it right in this center bit. Kind of fill in that space there. And then this one, since it's very, very pale, we're just going to take a little bit of the darker purple just to kind of separate them. And they don't have to all be the same amount of detail because some of them could be more in the foreground, some of them are kind of fading back. So it's okay if you put more detail into some more so than others, because that also helps the eye move around. Feel like I want to put like some dark, but it looks like you can see a little bit of the center coming out right there. There we go. And then just a little bit more at the tips. Very, very tips of these. I feel like this one is taking a lot longer than some of the other flowers, but really enjoying this one too. Okay. I'm kind of turned into something I don't really know what it is, but it's okay. Okay. Going to now outline the tips of these. You could also use the dotting tool on these while they're wet. I know that we're almost done painting. I could have said that before, but by this point in the series, if you've been here, you probably know the drill. If you wanted to do some of the detail lines while it's wet, you can use the dotting tool to put a little bit more subtle detail lines in there. So like the lines that are going along the petals like this. Well, you can definitely use your dotting tool. Okay, and now we need to add in some center to this one. So let's just kind of do some squiggly marks coming out of the center of that. Okay, okay. I think that we are about done with this one. I'm not like a huge fan of this one, and I'm trying to figure out what to do to fix it. I feel like if I keep messing with it though, I'm just gonna overwork it and make it look really weird. So I'm gonna stop as I add more. I always do this. I always say I'm done, and then I keep adding. I'm putting a little wash of opera pink. I just feel like this one got a little bit too dark, and so adding a little bit of that vibrancy to it might bring it back a little bit for us. Okay, that's pretty. All right, let's go ahead and splatter some paint and call this one done, because we've been working on this one a while now. All right, so I'm splattering my rose of ultramarine, a little bit of the green. And there is our Astrantia. I don't know how to say it. There's that flower right there. So that was day 21. All right, so we're getting close to the end, and the big flower at the end, I still have not made my decision. Hopefully I will have made my decision by the time this video goes up. I don't know, we'll see. I keep going back and forth between a rose, a peony. I've thought about so many flowers. So if we don't end up doing, and that's the thing, is there's been a lot of different votes, and I want to do everybody's pick. So like if I don't pick the flower you wanted, I may like do one a week until we do all the flowers. We're going to do one detailed flower every single week for till the end of time. But anyways, no, I am weighing all the different options and trying to pick the most popular vote, but if I don't pick the one you wanted, I'm very sorry. I will try to get to it eventually. But if you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already and you want to see our future videos, hit that subscribe button down below, and we will see you again tomorrow. Another day of Watercolor Month, a flower every day. Bye. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, I'm trying to end this abruptly, aren't I? I feel like somebody's in my house. Is my mother in my house? Why are you laughing?
I was just trying to line her up.
You can come in.